Imagine the Egyptian desert, a vast, silent expanse of sand and sun where history sleeps just beneath the surface. For thousands of years, the Valley of the Kings guarded its secrets, holding the tombs of the most powerful pharaohs the world has ever known. But one king, a boy who ruled an empire, was almost completely erased from memory, his name struck from the records, his final resting place lost to the shifting sands of time. He was a phantom, a whisper in the long story of Egypt. Yet his legacy was destined to become more famous than any other, not for the battles he won, but for the mystery he left behind and the chilling curse that would follow. The whispers of a curse began almost immediately after the tomb was opened in 1922. It was a dark rumor that grew into a global sensation. Tutankhamun wasn't just any pharaoh. He ascended to the throne of Egypt during a time of incredible religious chaos. He was only 9 years old, a child tasked with healing a divided nation. His father, the controversial pharaoh Akhenaten, had turned Egypt on its head by abolishing the traditional pantheon of gods. He declared that there was only one god, the sun disk Aten, and forced his people to abandon centuries of belief. When this young boy took power, guided by his powerful advisors, he officially rejected his father's monotheistic revolution and brought back the old gods that Egypt had worshipped for centuries. After just 10 years as the most powerful man in the world, King Tutankhamun died suddenly at the age of 19. Modern science has given us a clearer picture. CT scans of his mummy have revealed a man who was frail, afflicted with a clubfoot that required him to walk with a cane, and suffered from malaria and a severe leg fracture shortly before his death. The story of King Tut's rediscovery is a tale of obsession, determination, and a little bit of luck. It belongs to one man, a stubborn and brilliant British archaeologist named Howard Carter. By the early 20th century, most experts believed the Valley of the Kings had given up all its secrets. But Carter was convinced that one pharaoh was still out there, waiting to be found. By 1922, Carnarvon had summoned Carter to England to tell him their partnership was over. But Carter managed to persuade the Lord for just one more season of digging. On November 4th, 1922, his gamble paid off. A worker, while hauling water, stumbled upon a stone step cut into the bedrock. The single step became a full staircase descending into the darkness. At the bottom was a sealed doorway plastered and stamped with the royal seals of the necropolis. With trembling hands, Carter made a small opening in the top corner, lit a candle, and peered inside. Behind him, an impatient Lord Carnarvon asked the now famous question, "Can you see anything?" Carter's reply would echo through history. Yes, wonderful things. What Howard Carter saw in the flickering candlelight was beyond anyone's wildest dreams. The antechamber was not an empty space, but a chaotic jumble of treasure, piled from floor to ceiling. There were golden couches carved into the shapes of mythical beasts, ornate alabaster vases, intricate game boards, and disassembled chariots gleaming with gold leaf. Statues of the king stood as sentinels, their black skin and golden kilts shining in the torchlight. The room was silent, but it felt electric with the presence of the past, a scene frozen in time for 33 centuries. The team spent weeks carefully documenting and photographing every single object before moving anything. They uncovered over 5,000 individual items in total, each one a masterpiece of ancient Egyptian craftsmanship. The ultimate prize, however, lay deeper within. Beyond the antechamber, Carter discovered the burial chamber itself. It was almost completely filled by a massive golden shrine. When that final coffin was opened, the world saw the face of Tutankhamun for the first time in millennia. His mummified body was adorned with the iconic golden death mask, a masterpiece of art that captures a sense of divine and eternal power. The worldwide excitement over the discovery soon took a dark and sinister turn. The idea of a pharaoh's curse was not new, but with Tutankhamun's tomb, it exploded into a media frenzy. Lord Carnarvon, the man who funded the entire expedition, was bitten by a mosquito on his cheek in Luxor. His health rapidly declined, and he died in Cairo on April 5, 1923, from blood poisoning and pneumonia. At the exact moment of Carnarvon's passing, a massive power outage plunged all of Cairo into darkness. Adding to the spooky narrative, reports claimed that back in England, Carnarvon's favorite dog, Susie, let out a howl and died at the same hour. After Lord Carnarvon's death, the media began connecting every subsequent tragedy associated with the expedition to the curse. The list of victims grew, each death adding another layer to the chilling myth. People pointed to an alleged inscription on a clay tablet found in the tomb that supposedly warned, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." By the end of the decade, more than a dozen deaths were being blamed on the curse. The boy king was no longer just a historical figure. He was a vengeful spirit, a powerful mummy who could reach out from the grave. While the public and the press were caught up in the supernatural horror story, scientists and skeptics began looking for more rational explanations. A study found that those present when the tomb was opened lived to an average age of 70, perfectly normal for that era. Science offers some intriguing possibilities. A tomb sealed for over 3,000 years could be a breeding ground for dangerous pathogens, particularly airborne fungi like aspergillus. More than a century has passed since Howard Carter peered into that dark chamber and saw wonderful things. His treasures have toured the world, drawing millions of visitors who stand in awe of their beauty. The Golden Death Mask is now more than just an artifact. It is a global icon. When you see that mask, you see ancient Egypt. It is a symbol of immense wealth, divine power, and the ancient belief in an eternal afterlife. The search for secrets in Egypt is far from over. Modern technology is constantly being used to re-examine Tut's life and the world he lived in. Scientists are still debating the exact cause of his death and whether there might be hidden chambers within his tomb yet to be discovered. In the end, whether you believe in the curse or in coincidence, the story of King Tutankhamun taps into a fundamental human fascination with the past. The boy king may have died young, but his golden image continues to reign supreme, inviting us all to dream of the secrets that still lie hidden in the land of the pharaohs.